Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 37 of the In the 11 podcast, hosted by myself, Brendan Griffiths. Today's episode is an awesome one, another player that we're having on the 11 today, in the 11 with us. Anthony Lopez is chatting with me today. He's a former teammate of mine from back in Germany and is currently playing for the Cal Utd Strikers in NISA, which is the relatively new professional league in the United States. So we're going to talk to him about a lot of different things, his story, his journey everywhere he's played, what's it like being a pro, what's it like playing at all the levels that he's played at so far. And it's chock full of a lot of good information and a lot of good advice, especially to other players out there or players who are playing at a high level about how to take care of your body, how to train, how to really be a pro in every sense of the word. So can't wait for you guys to listen to this episode. Make sure that you subscribe so you can follow along with the podcast wherever you're watching or listening, and make sure that you leave a review, like, comment, share, all that good stuff with the pod, and let me know what you think. So without further ado. All right. So we are here with my friend, aka Big Time Anthony Lopez, special guest on the show in the 11 with us today. Had the pleasure of playing with him when we were over in Germany together. One of the most talented attacking players that I've had the pleasure of playing with, and coming off a game-winning goal, and I believe your first professional goal the other day. Are congratulations in order?
Yeah, you're right. That was my first professional goal.
That's awesome. So what was that feeling like for you?
It was kind of actually like pretty good, honestly. Like seeing the ball finally go in the back of the net for a game that actually counted.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a little bit of relief off your shoulders and kind of just hope that more keep coming. So I think it's a good step to just keep pushing and moving forward in my career.
Yeah, for sure. Because now this is your second year with Cal United, right?
Yeah. I mean, my first year obviously kind of sucked because of COVID. So we didn't really get a full season and really get to play. So I didn't really get to showcase myself as much.
Mm-hmm.
But this year we're looking like we're gonna play a lot more games, and just COVID's kind of going away. So I'm kind of excited to see what happens.
Yeah. How's it been so far? How's the first couple of games of the season gone, and how you adjust into the new season?
It's going well. We had a really good preseason. We played like really top teams in California. We played LAFC, we played Galaxy 2, San Diego Loyal, so like a lot of USL teams,
Mm-hmm.
which was just pretty good. It got us ready for our season, and so far right now we're I think 2-2, which is not bad.
Yeah. Did you feel like there was a difference between the levels when you were playing some of the USL teams and like with your club, or did you feel like it was pretty even?
I think we're pretty even. Our team is pretty good around like teams that play. We usually do pretty well against USL teams because normally they like to play as well, and it's not like just like kickball and just going forward. So like Galaxy likes to play. San Diego was they try to play as well. The one that was really good was LAFC, bro. They're good.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie, they were good, and that was the reserves, but goddamn.
Yeah. Do you feel like part of it is like the way people play in California? Like, is it kind of like state thing? Like, because I know like you played now, East Coast teams, you play West Coast teams, like all around the country. Like, do you notice different styles and stuff between like that kind of thing?
Yeah, there's different styles. Most of the time, there's a lot more teams in California that want to play like on the ground, and then I feel like in the East Coast sometimes they play as well on the ground, but it's a little bit more, sometimes they get a little bit more direct, and then they try to play like, so I think it just depends like on the coaching style, but most of the time, yeah, I feel like it's different. Yeah, a lot of teams on the East Coast are usually like bigger and just kind of more athletic,
Yeah, like more physical.
Yeah. So and they're still technical. They're just a little bit more physical and want to just kind of make it a little bit more rough.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back a little bit. So obviously, we just talked about you now playing for Cal United and NISA, but you grew up in California, right? And played all your youth soccer in California as well.
Yeah.
What club did you play for?
I played for like 4 different clubs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of moved around a little bit. I started off with Val United, and it was an okay team. I was playing a year up with one of my dad's friends. He was a coach, and he kind of wanted me to come out and play, and so I went out, and so I was playing with that team a year up. I mean, I wasn't too good when I was little. I was just kind of average, and then I left to a team called Real SoCal. I don't know if you've heard of them or played
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, so I played for them for about a year and a half, and then after that, I stopped playing for like a year with them, and I just started training on my own with some guy that I knew. He was like a private trainer,
Mm-hmm.
and I just trained with him for like about a year. And after that, I ended up at FC Golden State for my last 3 years. And yeah, that's where I ended my career at Golden State.
Wow, so you had a whole year where you like weren't playing competitively?
Yeah. That was his logic. The guy that was like training me. His logic was get out of club soccer for a year and just kind of focus on like your development and just try to get better and try not to be around the game right now, since you kind of like have some habits that are not too good, like
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard, honestly. Like I told my parents, and my dad was kind of like what are you saying, like
Yeah.
like you're not gonna play no more? And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna play no more. I'm just gonna practice every day, and he was just like what? So it was hard. Like I'm not gonna lie. I remember I was like 15. So I wasn't playing, and on the weekends I used to go and watch my brothers play. They were older. They used to play like Sunday league or like leagues during the weekend.
Yep.
And I would go watch, and it was so hard for me for like them to tell me to come play, and my the coaches and everybody there would just kind of try to make me play, and I was just kind of like no, like I
No,
can't.
I'm only training.
And it was like, yeah, and it was like, yeah, it was weird because a lot of people were like, so you're just training and you're not gonna play? And I'm like, yeah, like that's pretty much it.
If you
Which was,
if you were to do it again, do you feel like did that help you, or would you like do it differently if you could do it all over again?
no, I think that's what helped me, honestly. Because now like that I think of it, like that was kind of like my changing point of my career, since I just kind of took like that whole year off and just kind of focused on myself. And I had a pretty good guidance, which is my trainer, and he honestly I think he helped me develop a lot into like kind of the player that I am today.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting idea because like you said, you just get to focus 100% on your technical ability, and like it probably has, like you said, made you into the player that you are now when you're playing in a team setting. Like I said, I got to play with you in Germany, so like I could see like technically you're like very good on the ball, and maybe that's something that not a lot of young kids get if they're just always in team training and they don't do like that individual stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this guy was kind of crazy. But I mean, like his logics were like they were crazy, but they were like at the same time kind of true, like the way he would think was like just like a professional, I mean, he kind of he's gotten a lot of people like pro contracts, and like it's just like the way he thinks is just like different than everybody else, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, obviously you have a better chance of making it if you're thinking like this, but it's super crazy the way he's thinking. Like I'm telling you, I used to hate like freaking going to train with this guy, and like but the thing was like it was like that he was, that's the way he kind of was, and that's kind of why he kind of knew what the next level was, and he was trying to get you ready for it. So I mean, a lot of kids nowadays, I don't think they'll be able to do it, but like it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like this guy would literally, I mean, he wouldn't charge me. That's the thing. Like his logic was kind of crazy. Like if you think about it, right? So this guy would train me, but he wouldn't charge me.
Mm-hmm.
So the way he would do it was that if I'm not gonna charge you, you're gonna listen to me 100% because I'm taking free time out of my day to
Yeah.
help you. So now you're kind of like, oh damn, like now I actually gotta listen to the guy, you know, because like he's doing it like for like his, you know, his himself, which is like kind of like smart because a lot of times private trainers, right? They pay the trainer, so
Mm-hmm.
now you're forced to train the kid, right? This guy is like he's not forced to train me, so he kind of like he'll have to like it kind of has to come within you to try to like, you know, like want it, which was like, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point because like I'm sure when the kids that pay for private training, then they probably think like, oh, I'm paying you, so I should be able to kind of control what we do in the sessions, or like, you know, you shouldn't treat me this way because like I'm paying you. But that's
Yeah,
interesting because him
exactly.
saying like I'm doing this I'm taking time out of my day to do it. You kind of then feel
Yeah.
like you owe him something. Like he's like guilting you
Yeah.
into being like, yo, you better work your ass off because like I'm taking time out of my day to do this for you.
And exactly, that's kind of what it was. Like I mean, I used to go and train with him. I mean, the thing like I'm telling you, this guy's crazy. We used to go to the park. I mean, I was like 15. The park I used to go to was probably like 25-minute drive, but I mean, I didn't drive back then, so I would have to take the bus.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably take me like an hour 20 just to get there, and like I would have to take the bus, you know. He made me write out my own schedule. I had like the food, like I had to try to follow like my food plans. Imagine that I'm at 15, like, you know, like you're still kind of young, you know, like you're like, you know, I was like, what the fuck? Like this guy's crazy, you
Yeah.
know. He was making me read books, like, you know, like all this kind of stuff, you know. Just like what? Like what does it have to do with soccer, you know? But it just kind of like it kind of builds like a lot of like your character, and just kind of like him seeing like how bad do you want it, you know, how committed are you really to like, you know, coming and training, and you know, and like really wanting to learn and trying to improve yourself, because it's easier for like your parents to kind of come and, you know, hey, I'll drop you off and I'll come back and pick you up, you know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a different story if like you kind of find a way to get yourself there. So that's the way he kind of always thought of it, like, you know, it's easy for him to come pick me up and like take me, and you know, but he kind of wanted it to like be on yourself to get there.
Do you feel like there's habits that you picked up in that time, like training with him, that you still kind of carry over now into your career, like when you're playing or just in life in general?
Yeah, I do. I kind of the way I kind of see it now as well is like I kind of see the same way. Like if you really want to, like you'll kind of find a way to try to get there, and just kind of like never giving up like on like when you're working. Like he kind of pushed me like super hard. So like I kind of like have it like in my head now that there's always a next level of like pushing it, and like I think he pushed me to a pretty
To the
crazy level where
extreme,
sometimes
yeah.
I mean, this guy was like, I used to hate Saturdays. Like when Saturday would come, I was like, please, like, no, not Saturday, not Saturday. Saturday was it was our beach training day.
Oh God.
So I would have to wake up probably like 6:30, 7. By 7 o'clock, get on the bus, drive to like the bus used to take me down by where he used to live. And then from there we used to go to the beach. We used to get there probably like 7, 8 a.m. and we are probably there for like 5 hours, bro.
Oh my God.
5 hours of just training, bro. And it was so bad. Like this guy would kill, like he would literally like make us, or I mean, it was always me, but sometimes he would invite like other guys and, you know, like other kids to come and train sometimes, because a lot of people wanted to train with this guy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But see, like that's the thing, like he only trained like people that he wanted to, or he kind of saw potential, and like, or people that he kind of like he saw that, you know, like maybe they would really work hard, you know. But like there was a lot of other guys that kind of would come one day and then they wouldn't come no more. They would make an excuse like, hey, I'm too sore, or hey, I can't move, or hey, I don't have a ride.
Yeah.
And after that, like he would never train him again, you know?
Yeah. So again, it's like
So
that idea that you're talking about with like the payment, like he's only picking certain players that he wants to train. So again, it's like I've picked you. I've said all these other players I don't want to train. So like you better show up and like put in the effort.
yeah, and it's funny kind of how you saw me. Like he was kind of he used to work for like the city of LA, and he had like a facility for like kids like that are obviously like for the poor, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so he used to do like extra classes, and like there was a boxing place there as well. They like that kids like that wanted to come in and do boxing, they would
Mm-hmm.
come in, like, so the city would kind of pay for all that, and he was like the one in charge of like the whole building. And so at night he would do indoor, right? And so he would start indoor. It was like twice a week. It would start at 6 or 7 all the way to like 10, so like
Mm-hmm.
4 hours of just like 4v4 indoor. And I remember the first time I went, I was probably, I was like 13, maybe younger, around there. I went with my brother, and I mean that's kind of at my point where I wasn't really as good, you know. And I'm not gonna lie, I was struggling. Like obviously, I mean, you played indoor, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot faster.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little kid, and it was a lot faster, and I was playing with like grown men, and so I was kind of like struggling, you know.
Mm-hmm. And that's what
And
he
so
saw was like, I want to train that kid.
no, I mean, he told me, he's like, I saw that, you know, you kind of kept you kept coming, you know. You didn't after like 1 week, you kind of saw that, you know, like, hey, I can't play here, and you don't want to play no more, you know. Like
Yeah.
I kept going, and I kept trying, you know, like I kept trying to play, you know, trying my best. And even my brother like sometimes would like go on a different team, you know, because like sometimes he was on my team, but we would lose because, you know, they had me on their team, or like, you know, I was a little kid, or like, you know. And it got to that point, and I was just there, you know. And so he would sometimes leave me to go play for a better team, and, you know, I was just like, I would still go and try and play with another team or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy was kind of older, and so sometimes he would play as well, you know, and he would always pick me on his team, and I would try to play with him, and like, you know. And so every time we would lose, after, he would kind of talk to me, and we'll talk, and then, you know, next day would come or whatever, I'll come again. And after that, he kind of told me, he's like, hey, like, you know what, I could train you, you know, like, you know, he's like, but you got to be really committed and serious. And I was like, yeah, yeah. So every day after school, I would go to the private like facility he had there with like the gym,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just work on my footwork, ball work, and then there was like the couple of days where I'll work out, and little by little I started improving, and I got a lot better at indoor.
I'm sure, yeah. So all this commitment and this sacrifice that you made, I mean, it eventually paid off. You know, you got to play at the Division 1 level in California. Was that like, as you increased your training more and got more serious about it, was that the goal for you to try and go the college route, or like what were you kind of thinking in high school?
When I was in high school, I was trying to go pro. He kind of had like the way he was thinking, he was never thinking really go Division 1. I'm telling you, this guy's logic is he's crazy. I mean, he kind of got into my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he was like, I'm not gonna train you to just go to a Division 1, right? Like, if you're gonna train with me, you're gonna try to train to make a professional contract. And I was like, okay, that's fair. He's like, the worst case scenario, if you don't get a professional contract, you think a Division 1 school's not gonna want you if you've been training with professional teams and like training at a professional level.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, okay, that's true. He's like, so he was trying to aim higher, which was professional. And if that didn't come, then his like obviously your second option might be what,
Yeah.
Division 1, like
That's a
stuff
good
like that, which
fallback.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. So now I was like, okay, I guess this guy is like, you know, he's right. So that's kind of what happened. And yeah, so and then I ended up just kind of going D1. Um, what was it? I think my junior year. Honestly, like it was tough being around this guy. It wasn't easy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And towards I think my junior year, I had to make a really big choice, and it was either between me doing homeschool and kind of staying and training with him, or me going back to high school and going back to like playing club or an academy and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really close to doing homeschool.
Wow.
I was gonna do homeschool, and I was gonna do just training all day and stay with this guy and just try to see where I end up, right? And I mean, I don't know. I just ended up choosing going back to high school and finishing my last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point you definitely, obviously the individual training is good, but at some point you have to bring it back and apply it to the game, you know? Like you don't want to stay out of it for too long.
Yeah, well, I mean, his logic, obviously, like he wanted me to stay out for that whole year, and then after that, I was gonna go back into like going to play for like club teams or going to try out for like different teams in like different countries and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason he wanted me to do homeschool so I could make sure I finish my school as well, you know, so I just won't focus on soccer.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was thinking it was a good idea, but at the same time, I don't know, I just kind of I don't know if my brothers or my parents kind of talked to me or something and just kind of, you know, made me go back into just regular high school and just kind of being a regular student and just still beating my friends,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which was that was a really big choice for me because I think that would have really changed my life a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, like socially it's just so different being like homeschool. And I've never been homeschooled, so I can't really say what it's like, but I just have to imagine it's so different than going to high school every day and interacting with, like you said, like your friends or just by yourself every day. Like,
Yeah, so it was like, I mean, I think the reason I didn't do it was because I kind of was already almost a year into training, and I was kind of like whoa, like I don't know if I could keep going, you know, like I don't know, it was getting kind of hard, you know,
yeah. Yeah, definitely
and
understandable.
so I was kind of like in the middle, and I don't know. I think I should have, if for my soccer career, I think I should have done homeschool, like to try to improve my career. I think I would have done a lot better, but I think I kind of thought a little bit more for like just my childhood and you know just high
Yeah.
school, and which was, I mean,
Yeah,
it
like
went both ways.
it's good to have a balance, like, you know, between soccer and just life in general. Who knows? Like if you had done that, you might have gotten like a bit burnt out with everything, and who knows, like if you would still want to keep pursuing the game like you are now. I mean, you know, hindsight's
Yeah,
2020.
yeah. Honestly, that is true. So I mean, that kind of happened. I mean, it's plans to win as well as I kind of wanted to. I mean, I didn't stop playing or anything. I kept playing, and I got an offer for Division 1, and kind of went from there. You know.
Yeah. So how was your experience at the D1 level? You went to UC Riverside, right?
Yeah, I went to UC Riverside. It was good, honestly. I really liked it. Um, it's a fun experience, like trying to be a student athlete. It's
Mm-hmm.
not easy as well, but it's pretty fun. You stay really busy, and you meet a lot of new people that you never thought you would meet, and
Yeah.
you make a lot of new friends, and you travel and play, and just you know, it's a good experience, I think. Um, and plus you go to school for free if you get a full ride, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like what would you say to someone who's listening right now that is trying to learn about like maybe they're a high school player that wants to go D1 or something, like how would you describe what the Division 1 level is like? Like what is the commitment? And you know, I know you said it's hard being a student athlete. Like I can definitely relate to that. It's not easy, but what would you say to someone who's like, yeah, I want to be a Division 1 soccer player?
um, I mean, I would just kind of say that you got to be really committed to kind of what you want to do, right? Because you're not just a normal student where you just kind of go to class and do your homework and now you're free, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like now, like you got a whole like different, like you got like two lives in there, right? Like you're trying to do two things at the same time for one, which is like it's not easy. You got training in the morning. After training, you got to go shower. You have class, and then you have weights, like, and you got to do homework, and then you got to recover to still perform on the soccer field, and then you got to still recover to try to like perform in the classroom, right? So it's
Yeah.
kind of like you got to know how to choose your time wisely, because I mean there's time to mess around and kind of hang out with friends or whatever it is you kind of want to do, but you got to just kind of have like a set schedule, you know, like you got to know like when it's time to do homework or when it's time to go to class, like you kind of got to go to class.
Yeah. Do you think like biggest skill probably to have is like time management and discipline to be successful there?
Yeah, especially like you gotta really kind of know what you want, you know, like if you don't kind of have like a idea of like of kind of what you want, then you're kind of like you're roaming around everywhere and kind of like you're wasting a little bit of time sometimes on like different things that you probably shouldn't be doing. I mean, it's good to like go and explore new things, but you got to kind of have like a set schedule and try to like, you know, like follow like a schedule, because if not, you're going to just be like at home and you're going to be like, hey Brandon, you want to go out? And you're going to be like, I mean, sure, I'll go. Right?
Yeah, it's like
But
you said, you got all these new people around you, all these new experiences. Like some people can get caught up in it, and if you're not focused on what you want or what you're there to do, like people can get lost pretty quick.
yeah, because I mean, I know a lot of people that a lot of people go into college and after their first year they kind of end up dropping out, or they kind of just stop doing soccer because it's hard.
Yeah,
It's hard. It's hard being around. Like it's mentally, you got to be strong as well. Like it's not a if you're not strong mentally, it could kind of get to you, and you could just kind of lose everything, which is, you know, it'll be a bummer for you to kind of do all that work and at the
yeah,
end just
waste that
kind of,
potential.
yeah. So it's a lot of you got to be mentally strong as well. But I think if you got there, there's a reason you got there. You know, you just gotta stay focused and keep pursuing what you want.
Yeah. So you spent 2 years in college, and then you left after your sophomore year. Talk to me about that decision to leave. What kind of fueled that?
Again, we're gonna go back to
To
my
your
old
guy?
trainer that I was. Yeah, to my guy. So I was in my second year. I just finished playing that second year, and just randomly he just contacted me and he was like, hey, like I haven't talked to you in a while, like what's up, like what are you doing, you know? And I was like, oh, I'm still here. And he kind of told me, he's like, hey, like I still think you could kind of, you know, try to make it to the pro level. I think you should try to go a little bit before you leave, before you get a little older, you know. I was 19, I think. Yeah, I was 19. He's like, you should try to go before you get too old, you know, try to pursue the career and try to go somewhere and try to sign a contract. And I was like, that was a hard choice as well.
Yeah.
It was between leaving like a full ride in Division 1, you know, 2 years at school, or try to go and pursue something that it's not a guaranteed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a hard choice for me, and I just ended up choosing to try to go and pursue my career, which was try to make a professional contract. And he ended up taking me to Brazil.
Wow. So where were you in Brazil? Like I know I talked to you a little bit about your Brazil experience, but I'm just curious about it. Like was there a big culture shock for you when you left here and moved to Brazil? Like what was that like when you first got there and were trying to adjust?
Um, it was a lot harder. Like they live a lot more like soccer like orientated over there. Like, you know, like over
Yeah,
there it's like we're strictly like just soccer.
it's their
And then
life.
just like,
Yeah.
yeah, and just like the living environment obviously is not the same as like over here back home, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta kind of adjust. You gotta adjust to like the living situation. You live in a small room, like it's hot, like you know, like something like it's never perfect. You don't have AC. You have a freaking room that's nasty and like, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean that's kind of like you're not gonna be treated royalty because you're not going to like a Santos or like a, you know, like a first division, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, hold on. That's kind of like a that was different. And then also just the way they live, like for their soccer careers, like if they don't make it, like their career's done, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have like college or anything else to kind of like be on the side over there. Over there is like you better make it or else you're done playing soccer and you're gonna go to work and that's it, you know. So they kind of like, it's more of like a like a life thing over there. So that's kind of why they live by it.
Yeah. I think like there's two things that you said there that are really interesting. The first is, which I think a lot of people don't realize about, like when you're first trying to get a contract or you're trying to play at a higher level overseas, like you mentioned, like where you might be living, it might be like a shithole. You know what I mean? Like, because people think like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go to Europe and they'll have an apartment for me and like you might live in a box and there might be no air conditioning, there might be no heat, like, and that's just kind of until you make a name for yourself, until you establish yourself, or for the players that don't come up through big academies and have that kind of resume, like that's what you got to do. And people, I think, don't really realize like what that grind is like or what that sacrifice is like early on when you're trying to get a contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. I got there and was kind of like, I mean, I was kind of already like, I was kind of already knowing what to expect. I wasn't expecting like freaking 5-star like hotel and everything. It was literally like a house. There was like 15 or more guys in there, and like you gotta adjust, and we're all there to try to make a professional contract. So you know you gotta find the way to try to grind it out and take care of your body, and try to perform, it was good. I mean, I did well. It was a second division Sao Paulo, so it's a pretty good level. And I stayed there for about a month and a half, and the coach and the president, they offered to sign me. So I was kind of excited about that.
So did you sign with them?
I did, but then I didn't. I signed, right? They offered me a contract, whatever. I signed it, and then I had to go through like the federation of the U.S. to try to get my visa to try to live over there. And then I had to try to go through the federation of the USA, and then I had to try to go through the Brazil federation, and it was tough, bro. Like me and another guy, we were gonna sign together. We were gonna be their first like international like foreign players, right?
Yeah.
Because normally they sign like Brazilian players, so it's easy for them to sign them, right? So this club did not know like the process of signing like a new like international player, and they thought it was going to be easy and all this, and it was tough.
Yeah.
And so they were struggling, so they couldn't figure it out. They were missing time, like date times and stuff, and so we had to wait for next times, like to like people like ready to move on. So it just kept getting delayed, and it was kind of frustrating. I was out there just training, and whenever we would have like practice games, I would go and play, and and just try to wait for for me to get cleared, and I wasn't getting cleared, and I was just kind of, it was getting a little frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a common theme, I feel like, in players that I've talked to. Like everyone has an experience kind of similar to that, where you feel like you're playing well and the team wants you from like what you can do on the field, but then something off the field that you can't really control maybe means that you're not able to sign a contract with that team. And like it's such a good point that you bring up, that especially for a club like that hasn't signed foreign players, there's so much that goes into trying to get a foreign player into your club, like getting their player pass, getting them a visa, getting all that stuff. And again, it's it's something that people don't realize and don't necessarily think of when they're like, oh, I'm just going to go to Brazil and sign a contract. Like there's a lot of other things like that you realized that you got to do.
Yeah, bro. It was honestly, it was kind of heartbreaking. I'm not gonna lie. The coach, I feel like the coach liked me. There was a couple times where we played like a really good Division 1 team, and I went, and that was like my first time, like I was in a goal, and like it was like a preseason game, and he started me and everything. I played really well. I had like 3 chances to almost score, and I probably should have scored them. Keeper made like pretty good saves. I wish I scored them, but since then the coach was like, since after that day, like I really wanted to sign you, but it wasn't my call. It was kind of like the front office and the president, they couldn't clear you. So like, I mean, I can't put you in and play, which it's not my. So I was kind of like kind of bummed out.
Yeah.
So I came back home, and just trying to figure out like what was gonna happen next.
Yeah. So the one thing I was interested about too, when you said how like players in Brazil, it's different. Like it's their lifestyle. They don't really have a backup plan. They don't have college, like that type of thing. When you were in that environment, did you like Did you love that? Was that part of it that like made you realize this is what you were meant to be doing and you were doing the right thing by being in this like super competitive environment where everyone was just fighting for just like a little sniff or a little contract, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought of it like it's crazy out here in South America, especially Brazil. I mean, Brazil is one of the top countries in the world that they transfer out a lot of players.
Yeah.
So I was trying to compete with a lot of like, players that normally transfer out, or like, like a country that's full of players. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there was training sessions where we had like 35 guys, 30 guys or more, and you're just like, what the hell? Like, there's so many guys here,
And like they were
and
all
you have to,
talented, I'm sure.
yeah, they were all pretty talented. Like, I mean, sometimes you'll get some guys that were okay, or like you would kind of be surprised, like, really, this guy played where? And you're just like, I mean, whatever. Like, there's a couple of those, but then there were some other guys that you're just like, wow, this kid's freaking amazing. Like, like this kid's good. And it was just kind of like that, and it was crazy. Sometimes I used to talk to some people, and they used to be like, yeah, I just got off of like a 12-hour bus ride, and like after 2 days, they didn't like them. They sent them back, and you're just like, oh.
Wow. Cutthroat.
But it's like, I mean, they're trying, everybody's trying out there to try to make a living out of soccer, and you gotta sacrifice a little bit to try to make it somewhere.
Yeah, I mean that's everybody's dream down there, and yeah, I mean anyone like around the world, you got to sacrifice something if you wanna get there. But so left Brazil and then came back to the States, right? Came back to California.
Yeah, and then I went back to Brazil to try to try to play again in Brazil. I was out there for about 4 weeks. So I went back to the team that I went to, and like to top it off, I got to Brazil, and the president and everybody, like nobody was replying to me when I was there. I was at the airport just like what do I do? Like nobody was replying to me, and I was just like, damn, like what, I'm already here, like what's going on? And so I called one of my buddies that I met here in California, that I played with him before. He was Brazilian, and I was like, hey dude, like I need somewhere to stay, like can I please stay at your house, or like, can you try to help me figure something out?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah bro, like come over. And I was like, all right, cool. So I had to bus it to his, like around his like house, and then they picked me up. When the bus is probably like 3 hours like from where the bus station was, and like 30 minutes from his house they picked me up. He's a really nice guy, honestly. I'm thankful for like him and his family for taking me in, like when I was like I had nowhere to go.
So did you end up training with the club again? Like, did you ever talk about that? Did anything happen?
Yeah, the club finally ended up replying to me, and I went back to the club. But they took forever to reply. Like they were like, "What, you're here already?" And I was like, "Yeah, you guys, like, I'm here." And they're like, "Oh, okay." So I got there, and like they changed the head coach. Like,
Damn.
so they got a new head coach. I got there, and like so they were changing a lot of things. The president was leaving. So like this new coach was like who the fuck are you? Like he doesn't know anything about me, and like
Yeah.
and so he kept delaying and delaying as well. Like the train, asking him like, hey, like what's up? Like, are you gonna want me to stay? Like, or should I just go? I kept asking, and he would just keep making excuses. He would be like, oh, it's the front office. Go talk to the front office. And then I'd go talk to the front office, and they'll be like, no, it's the coach. Go talk to the coach. I'm like, holy fuck, like, like
Yeah,
somebody
just going in
just tell me
circles.
something. Yeah, and then at that point, I was kind of already getting like, I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired of this. And the coach, the president was like, okay, look, we're gonna send you to a team up north, which was like a 20-hour bus ride, or like a 5-hour plane ride or something like that,
Oh my God.
to like a team up north Brazil, like up in like the forest, like somewhere like really far, and it was
Yeah.
gonna be like a lower division, and like kind of like something like that, like really really bad living. And I kind of was like, yeah, you know what? I don't think I want to go there. And I told the president, I was like, hey, you know what? Like, I don't think I want to go. I don't think I want to go do that. And then he was like, well, I mean, I guess we're done here. I guess I don't have anything else for you. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, then I was like, all right then, and I just kind of didn't talk to him. I just left.
So what was next? Where'd you go?
From there, Eddie called me. Eddie was like, yo, what are you doing? I was like, I'm over here. I was like, I'm trying to leave. He's like, damn, bro, like I'm coming. I'm going to Germany. Like, you trying to come? And I was like, I mean, I'm down. I'm leaving from Brazil, so I flew back home for like about a week, just kind of saw my family, and then from there, right away, I left to Germany with Eddie.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that you had come from like a week out from Brazil. For some reason, when I was talking to you, I thought it was earlier. So you Brazil, boom, home
No,
for a week, and then straight on the plane to Frankfurt.
yeah. I mean, I wasted a little bit of money trying to come home to back home from Brazil, but I think I needed it. I needed to see my family and
Oh
kind of
yeah.
like see like my girlfriend and everybody, and just kind of like remember kind of why I was doing this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of came out here for a little bit and kind of got together with my family, and just kind of had a little bit more fun, and just got ready to go to Germany and try something new.
Was Europe always something that you kind of had as a goal in the back of your mind, like to try and play in Europe one day, or you just it didn't really matter, just wanted to play?
I kind of just wanted to play. I never had Europe in my mind. I always had kind of like Mexico, like other places in my mind, the US, or try to go somewhere else. But Europe was kind of like, I was like, well, like if I'm gonna make it to Europe, I need to be playing somewhere, like so they could kind of like see that I'm already playing.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I went to Germany, the same thing, to try to make it into like higher levels, and they kind of told me that they were gonna help me out, me and Eddie. So I was like, all right, cool, like I'll come out,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna send me to try to go train with other teams. And so I was like, I mean, why not?
So how did you feel overall about your experience in Germany?
It was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, but I mean, exactly. You gotta kind of like, you're gonna go through crazy experiences like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be perfect. You're not playing at a Bundesliga team. So I think it's a roller coaster. You gotta be willing to ride through it and try to try to go through whatever it is that you want, and hopefully in the long run it'll kind of come out right.
Yeah. Would
Which
you
was
would you ever consider going back and playing, not obviously not for FCA, but for like in Germany or Europe in general, or are you like trying to climb the ranks here in the States?
I mean, right now I'm obviously trying to stay like in the States, either try to go USL or whatever it is that it might be, or obviously go to Mexico. But if like Europe comes up again, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad option to try to go and do it again. I mean, I kind of liked it out there, and the teams are pretty good. Like when I went to go train with the Worms, they were pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, Germany
um
was like just filled with quality.
Yeah, so like there was a lot of teams like that, and I mean, I only played half the season out there, and then we came back for like half the break, and I mean, I thought I was doing well, and when I went to those teams, they liked me and they told me that they wanted me to come back in the summer and and possibly like play for them, and I was kind of like looking forward to that. And when I came home, I talked to my agent. I got an agent, and we kind of he started working with me, and we kind of just try setting up like tryouts and just try to talk to some teams out here. And so I was like a whole month of just tryouts, and I ended up here and I did well, and they invited me into preseason, and I did well in preseason, and I ended up staying here. So
So
and then
was that
that's
for Cal United, was that a trial that your agent set up for you?
no, it was like pretty much like a open trial, but like he paid for it, and he like talked to he told me he talked to them, and like kind of just try to help me out and putting in like a good word.
Yeah. How do you feel about the
So
open trial experience for like clubs? Have you been to a lot of them?
yeah, I have. I mean, I would just kind of say like you gotta not there's gonna be some good players, and obviously there's gonna be some bad players, but you got to just kind of showcase yourself and like just show off your attitude, your like your commitment, and just like kind of who you are as a player.
Yeah.
And if you're what the coach is looking for, then it'll work out. If not, then go to another one, and hopefully that coach is looking for something like you.
Mm-hmm. So
But
like, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, no, I mean, most of the time it's just like you got to just freaking work your butt off at the tryout and just kind of like show that you want it, to just try to get into that chance with the team.
Yeah. So now second season, like as in this club as a pro, what's your favorite part about being a professional now? Like, what do you love about it?
I mean, just kind of living like the like day to day like soccer now, and just kind of trying to still improve, but you're kind of like you know all day soccer every day, and you're just kind of living like what you kind of like dream of like from a little kid.
Yeah.
you know so it's kind of cool. I mean, obviously there's still like steps to kind of move forward, but you're kind of like in the process of it, like training every morning. You got film, you got games on the weekend, you got like like you got to go to events, and it's kind of it's kind of like what you were looking for as a little kid, and it's like a start, obviously, and there's different levels to it, like USL and MLS, but it's like a stepping stone, I feel like that.
Is it also special for you to be able to kind of do it in your hometown sort of, or close to family and friends?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like finally, my parents are finally able to see me play after like 2 years of being away, because I
Yeah.
was in Brazil and Germany, and then like the first game of the season, like finally my family was able to come out, and so they were finally all able to see me play, and it's kind of exciting for them to all come and be able to see me.
Yeah, dude, I said the same thing like when I started playing for a club around here, like near my hometown. And it was that's such a cool thing, like because I had the same experience of probably 2 or 3 years, because in Germany, I was in Denmark, I was wherever, and and then during COVID, it was just impossible for anybody to travel anywhere to see you. So
Yeah,
it's such a cool thing to like, because that's kind of what I feel like part of why you play, like eventually one day wherever you're playing, you want to have your family and stuff fly out and see you wherever it may be. So it's cool to have that again.
yeah, yeah. That's probably one of the best parts, like seeing your family kind of go out and watch you play, and just kind of like just trying to enjoy it. Hopefully you don't have a bad game.
Well, you always step up a little bit of a level when you got people watching you like that. So
I hope so.
all right, I got one more for you, and I know like you're busy and you got a big weekend ahead of you as well. But so now you've had the opportunity to play. So you played D1, you played at the semi-pro level, like overseas, here, and now the professional level as well. What would you say are some of the biggest differences that you've seen, or as you've played higher and higher, like what do you notice stays the same, and what changes for you?
I think probably the biggest thing that changes is like the speed of play.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as you go higher, the level, everybody like their speed of play is just a lot faster, and it's kind of crazy sometimes, like the soccer IQ some guys have, and the way they're able to think so fast and still be able to play at that speed is it's pretty amazing, honestly. And I think the difference sometimes as well is just the professionalism, the way people carry themselves, and the difference between semi-pro and other places. Like sometimes they don't take care of their body, they just go out, they don't train extra, they don't do stuff like that. And I think a little bit more on the pro level, people are obviously still trying to make it a little bit higher, and you got to still try to keep your job, right? Because there's
Yeah.
people trying to come up, there's people trying to come under from nothing to try to take your job. So you still got to be able to try to perform, take care of your body, and still be able to run a full match, right? So it's like fitness as well is it's a big factor, I think, as well, to try to be able to try to be fit as you can, because some of these guys they're machines.
Yeah.
These guys could just run, they could run all day, and it's like, damn.
is that something that kind of motivates you to continue to train so hard and work so hard that you feel like someone else is out there trying to take your job or take your jersey off your back?
Yeah, I see it as that, like, somebody's trying to come from the bottom, and then I mean it's kind of the same way, right? Like I'm trying to move up and try to
Yeah.
take somebody's like spot, you know. So there's obviously like there's there's kind of like there's levels to it, which is like somebody's trying to take my spot in my level, which is NISA, and there's other people I'm trying to take somebody's spot in USL or like, you know, MLS. So somebody in bottom is working hard to try to get here, and I'm trying to work hard to try to, you know, keep pushing up as well. So you got to just kind of like not get comfortable and just kind of be happy where you're at, and just try to keep improving and keep trying to get better, you know, as long as you're trying to follow your dream and just keep working towards it. I mean, right? I see you working out there too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, because like you think it was that was you, right? Like when you went to that open tryout, you were like, I'm trying to go and take somebody's job right now. I'm trying to go and get a spot on this team. Like there's always gonna be guys like you, guys like me, whoever that are coming and trying to get a job from somebody. So it's definitely motivation for anyone out there, like to keep working. You can't get complacent. You can't just be happy where you're at.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like you never know, dude. Like sometimes like you'll be surprised like on sometimes the people that they choose, right? You're like, what? Like how did they
Yeah.
pick that guy, or what? How did this guy go? But I mean, he kind of stuck to it and just kind of, you know, kept grinding, and it finally paid off, and he got where he wanted to be, and now he's kind of, you know, he's there, and you're like, damn, I should have kept going, right? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
you
why I
know.
think about that all the time, especially now like Chelsea just winning the Champions League and you look at like Mendy, I think his CV is like 23. He was unemployed or something, and then 24 signed like fifth or sixth division in France. Like same with Conte. Like Conte had a story where he was playing lower leagues and was constantly getting cut, and now all of a sudden he's lifting the Champions League trophy, and people are talking about him for the Ballon d'Or. Like I think there's just that's what's cool about the game is like there's people that have stories like that, and if you're willing to put in the work and sacrifice like you talked about all during this episode, like then it might just be a story like that for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just gotta you gotta just try to stay ready, I feel, because you never know. Say there's a tryout in 2 weeks, and you're like, oh damn, I'm gonna get ready, right? And it's like, I
Yes,
mean,
it's too late.
you're right. So you gotta try to stay consistent, and that's kind of where like being mentally strong and just try to like, because I mean it's hard. Obviously, like imagine trying to train a whole year around there like without having any team or anything to do. You know, you're just like, damn, like, you know, what do I do? What do I do? You know, like you gotta just kind of try to stay to the grind and just kind of stay ready. So when something does come up, you're like, oh hell yeah, like I'm hungry now. You know, like I haven't played, I haven't trained, I haven't done anything. Like take me to this tryout. I'm trying to go freaking work my ass off. You know, like
Yeah.
that's kind of like I think what they gotta live by. I mean, I try to I mean I have younger siblings as well. I have three little sisters, so
Mhm.
I try to push them as much as I can and try to just, you know, try to teach them a little bit of kind of what I've been through, you know, and hopefully they're able to kind of go based off of that and just do better than whatever I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah, because you talk about like it's kind of that blind faith or that blind commitment when you're trying to wait for an opportunity or you're waiting for a trial or something, you're not playing for a while. Like sometimes you're going to train on your own and you're like, what am I doing this for? Like, what if I don't get an opportunity? But those are the
Yeah,
times when you have to be
stay
like,
positive.
yeah, stay positive and just tell yourself something will come, something will come. And if I quit now, then obviously nothing will happen. So I just have to keep going and, eventually something's going to happen.
No, yeah, definitely, bro. I agree 100%. Like, I mean, because there's been a lot of times where I was like, what am I doing? You know, I'm wasting my time. Like, why the hell am I training? Like, you know, it was like my fifth hour at the park. Like, why the freak am I even
Yeah.
practicing this same thing again? You know, like you know, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it comes down to like you being like mentally strong and just kind of being like, you know, like positive and just being like, no, no, no. You know what? I'm gonna freaking work my butt off, and something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen, and it's like, you know, you gotta just stay positive. And at the end of the day, if nothing happens and you gave it your all, then I mean, at least you know that like you were strong enough to kind of, you know, stay mentally strong and try to pursued what you wanted and it didn't happen. I mean, like, God forgive, like, you know, it didn't happen, you know, which sucks, but at least, you know, deep down, like, hey, I gave it my hardest, it didn't happen. Like, what do you want me to do? You know, I tried, like, I freaking worked my ass off. It didn't happen. So
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's just, you live your life with no regrets. There'll never be a moment where you're like, I could have done more. Like, I trained every damn day. I did everything I could, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out, or for whatever reason, it did work out. Like, you keep there's no doubt or there's no regret when you put in the work.
yeah, I mean, most of the time I feel like if you put in the work, the correct work, I feel like something will come up, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's why I said, like, the correct work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times I feel like people put in work, but it's like you're putting in the comfortable work, you know, like you're not putting in like those freaking those like mile runs or like those like timed runs, you know, like stuff like that, like that you're really pushing yourself like mentally, and you know, that's kind of what's going to separate you from like other people. Like, I mean, because when I was growing up younger, I mean, I'm pretty sure you as well, there was obviously you knew a lot of people that played soccer, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of like what it is. Like, when you're younger, a lot of people are following the dream still because you're still young, and they're training. But normally their training is consisting of what? Like, what do you say? You usually see people training just shooting at the goal.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
Like, how many times do you see kids, they just go and they just have a bag of balls and they just start ripping shots, and it's like, dude, you're a center back. Like, what are you even doing?
It's like no warm up, nothing, just straight.
Yep.
All right, Reagan, just start ripping the shots, and you're just like, bruh, like there's been times where I kind of been at the park and I see kids like just do that, and like I kind of go up to them, I'm like, hey, like, you know, I think you should kind of just try to, like, you know, do this, you know, like try to help them out a little bit, you know, but hey, like try to do stuff like this that's gonna help you, you know, a little bit more, you know, like. And sometimes I'll even try to train them a little bit just to give them a little, like, you know, like little like feel of it.
Yeah.
And you know, so they can kind of see, like, but it's sometimes I don't. I just kind of, like, you know, let them be. But it also depends, like, you know, what they kind of want. You know, a lot of people say like they want to be pro, but it's like, I mean, you're not gonna just go and shoot the ball, like, you know, for 2 hours and not do anything else and say you've been training, like, you know, you've been grinding, which is that's not grinding. You know, you know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think people love to say like they're about the grind or they love the grind. Like, I don't know, people just have a weird thing with what they think grinding really is. And it was funny, I was talking to I had Austin on my podcast the last episode, and we were talking about, I feel like at higher levels, like especially the way you're talking about it, it's almost like for you that everyone at your level right now is training super hard. You know what I mean? There's no one that you're around that you're like, oh, they don't really train hard or work hard or take care of their body. So then it kind of becomes, what are you going to do that's different than all the semi-pro or amateur players? And like, you know, for you, it's experiences where you're getting out of your comfort zone. Like, you're moving to Brazil or you're moving to Germany, or, you know, even when you were younger, like you're taking a year off and you're just training with this dude who's putting you through intense Saturday beach workouts. It's just like, you got to do something that's going to be different and might kind of push you outside of what you're comfortable with. And it's not just about just going to the park and just like training for an hour a day.
The thing about him was that he didn't sit there for like the 5 hours or the 6 hours that I was at the park. He didn't sit there the whole time just watching me like, hey, you better do it, you better do it, or like, you know, this guy was like, he would come up in the morning, he would show me what I have to do, you know, I'd write it down. I kind of already had an idea of, like, you know, how to do it, because he would show me, and he would leave for like 2 to 3 hours, and it was just me at the park by myself and just practicing the same thing he told me to do. And then he'll come back for like his lunch break or whatever, and he'll come and he'll be like, all right, let me see it. And then I'll show it to him, like, you know, whatever it is. And he'll be like, all right, this has to be a lot faster. You're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing that. And then he'll leave again. And then he'll come in the night or whenever he gets off of work. I'll still be there, you know, by myself trying to train. And, you know, and he'll come and see it and he'll let me know. And he'll be like, you need to do this. You know, sometimes he'll yell at me or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty much like self-commitment. You know, he was kind of helping me, but at the same time, like, he wasn't there those whole 6 hours, you know, just watching me and like trying to like tell me like, hey, you got to make sure you do this, you got to do that, you know, like he was kind of leaving it up to me, where like, I'm gonna tell you what to do, and it's your job to, how bad do you want it, to try to, you know, improve on doing that, you know. So I at that point I kind of was really like, you know, I wanted, so I kept to it and tried my best.
Yeah, you just have to be self-motivated in that situation.
Yeah, and it's hard, bro. I'm not gonna lie. There was there was one day where like you know, you have those days where you're out of it, you know. And this day I was just freaking out of it. Like, I don't know why. I was just like, I was in training. I was just like, fuck, like I don't even want to do this, you know. Like I was just like, it was a couple months in, and so I was just juggling, bro. I was just juggling, like kicking the ball up, like playing like with the ball, you know, just having fun. And I wasn't going through the cones. I wasn't doing anything, you know. I was just like, you know, and the whole time he was watching me, right? Like he was watching me for like 30 minutes, like not do anything. And I was like, he came and I was just like, oh shit. Like my heart dropped. I was like, whoa. And then he asked me, you know, he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was just like, oh, honestly, like, I don't know. I was out of it, you know. I didn't feel it. And I was kind of scared.
Man, that's crazy. I mean, there's so much though that you've had in this episode. I think is great for young players to listen to or to take some of your advice from. But I appreciate you coming on today, and definitely congrats on the first goal yesterday, the first of many, and good luck. Who do we have tomorrow? Maryland Bobcats, right? Yeah. So hopefully, if anyone's listening and wants to catch some NISA action tomorrow, Tony will be in the Cal United Strikers uniform. Again, like I said, I appreciate you coming on, man, and sharing your story and sharing a lot of good insight for players out there that can take some of your advice and listen to your story and take some inspiration for it. So again, best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Thanks for having me. It was good seeing you, right?
Yeah, good seeing you too. Appreciate it.
All right, big time. I'll talk to you.